a book to understand the most annoying thing in our dental lives. Well, maybe not my guest who's coming up, Dr. Travis Campbell, who wrote this book. We are a sponsor of this awesome book with Dental Nachos, Understanding Dental Insurances, a guide for patients and teams. I like to call it is make dental insurance less annoying in your dentistry life. Dr. Travis Campbell, thanks for joining me. Share with us. I want to ask you this. People ask, what's your why, right? It's a big question. What's your why? You always got to say your why, right? What was your why for writing this book?
My why was when I first started, open to practice. I knew nothing about running a business. I knew nothing about insurance. I knew nothing about any of it. And as with most of us, dental insurance was my biggest problem. It was my biggest concern. It was my biggest headache. And so I searched for answers. I couldn't find any anywhere, at least none that were any good. And so I had to start researching and doing it myself and doing a lot of trial and error. And I found ways to make insurance pretty easy. So my why is to provide what doesn't exist and to help dentists where I didn't have the help when I started.
I love that why. And I heard that you asked like a super funny, handsome dentist to submit some things for this book. Who else is in this book with some implant cases?
I mean, there's a lot of high-end cosmetic dentists. I mean, can I remember any of their names right now? I mean, there's a Christian Yates, and I think Paul Goodman might have done a couple.
You asked me, I was at my office looking for, actually, what was, actually, I want to ask you, what was the impetus? You had asked me to do some implant stuff because implants would be confusing. What part of the book discusses implants or what, how does that help people with implants?
There's sections on downgrades. It's a complaint that comes all the time is we did an implant patient, insurance only paid for a partial. There's talks about why insurance asks for certain things for implants like panos. There's talks about, how to actually get implants covered. And then there's talks about the profitability side of it. So that it all goes into, dealing with insurance and networks and contracts and all the rules we have to deal with. And as you know, now this was after I wrote the book, but I started placing implants a year ago and they're just so much fun. So yeah. I liked the topic to begin with too.
I'm here to kind of annoy people. So you wish you did implants sooner, right? You wish you learned sooner?
Yeah, 10 years ago, I would have done it. If I knew what I knew now, I would go learn implants within 2 to 3 years of graduating and not 13 years, 12 years later.
Glad we have that on recording. Now, I want to share something to you.
What are you going to use that for?
Person, I like to be outgoing, extroverted, make jokes and things like that. But I do find dental insurance to be really annoying at times. But really in working with you, you kind of have this attitude. It's more Zen, don't get angry, get even, right? Some of these dentists on all these groups, they get so angry, but you're kind of like, there's no reason to get angry because this stuff is in the contracts. But if you know things from this book, like, are you receiving reimbursement for 99% of your services, including crowns and scaling and root planings? Tell us more about this. Don't get angry, get even, or don't get angry, use it to your advantage.
So the challenge I see, if you want to get angry, get angry. But the thing is, people get angry, they get frustrated, they complain about it, but that leads nowhere. What does complaining about something ever do for you other than tick off your wife or your friends or whatever? The point is to find solutions to what causes us to get angry. And that's what I always try to focus on is, look, yeah, does something make me upset in the moment? Sure. But instead of dwelling on that, I'm going to dwell on how can I find an answer? And often the answer is less time, effort, and money to fix than my sitting there and complaining about it and wasting time there and mental energy and burnout, or the trying to beat my head against the wall, trying to get let's say the insurance company in this instance to change. That's never going to happen. But if we can make minor changes in how we understand it, then the relationship with reimbursements and insurance just works out better. So, but this is the same concept I try to tell people a lot of ways, that we can never force change on someone else, but we can always change ourselves. So in every relationship, whether it's personal, business, employee, insurance, if we learn ways to modify ourselves a little bit, then all those relationships work out better.
I love that. Super Zen. I like that. Now, Travis, tell me, this book has gotten tremendous compliments. We're a sponsor of Dental Nachos. People can text the word Travis to 215-543-6454. They can text the word Travis to 215-543-6454 to get a nacho discount, or reach out to us at dentalnachos.com. But on my group, almost 43,000 members, Travis. Actually, I'm turning 45 soon. So if you could add 2,000 members by next week, I want 45,000 members by my 45th birthday. You can make that happen. But it's gotten so many compliments. They say, I love this book, Travis. Thanks. What's interesting is I'm 45, almost 45. I was used to having books around the office, right? We had the red book that talked about medications. We've had the Blair book, right? There's no such thing as too many good books to help you. So I say, get me the Blair book. I envision staff being, get me Travis's book. What's the value of actually having this physical book in your office? How does it help your office manager, your assistants and teams?
Well, at least for my team, I'm a computer science major. Everything I deal with is computers. And no one else in my team is like that. They're computer literate, but they're not all computer loving. And so when they're searching for something, they're not going to go to a computer. They're going to go to something hardcore or hard copy if they can. So for the book, the reason I suggest people actually get a physical copy is it's so easy to flip through it. It's so easy to mark chapters that you want, mark ways to get the information you want very quickly. And it's a very visual thing to dealing with insurance. You're dealing with EOBs, you're dealing with what documentation sent. It's got to kind of be in front of you, in my opinion, to understand it. And so that's why I wrote it down as opposed to doing like a podcast or anything, because you need to actually have the visuals.
I totally,
at least my team, it works out better.
In the heat of I told you about my failed dreams. In the heat of dentisting basketball, you're like, let me see this book. I've done this with the Blair book. I know people are doing this, your book. Before we wrap up, Travis, I ask you two questions. I say ROI in life is two things. It's relationships, opportunity, and impact. And it's also return on investment. Mm-hmm. What is some feedback you've gotten from dentists and teams who bought this book and said, man, Travis, you've unlocked this awesomeness in our practice. You've decreased our stress. I see it on the Nacho group, but what if people reached out to you and said?
I've had almost all positive comments. Really, the only negatives of people who've never read it. But I've had lots of people go, man, I never even understood why things are happening until we see the background. And now they get to put the pieces together. And when you understand the why you have to do something, for me, it's a lot easier to follow through with it. It's the same with our patients and our team members, is if we tell them why we're going to do something, it makes more sense. They're more willing to go along with it. The other thing is I've had so many people tell me it's the number one book, at least recently, that they bought that's made a significant change in their office financially. And that's what I love. That was the whole point is, I love being a clinical dentist, but at the same day, I'm running a business and I need that to be successful. And being a network does come with its own challenges with that. And so we just got to find solutions, and that's what I provide.
I think, I don't know if this is super profound, but if your office goes out of business, you can't help any patients. But dental offices don't totally go out of business. But if the dentist is really too stressed and the morale's low, it doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help the team. We have an upcoming conference that you can watch in live. You can attend live. If this is after this, you can get the souvenir recordings. We're going to have a totally fee-for-service dentist, Dr. Todd Fleischman. We're going to have a totally out-of-network dentist, Dr. Paul Goodman, and we're going to have a dentist that totally likes PPOs. That's Dr. Travis Campbell. But my office manager said something, Travis, the other day. We're totally out of network. But I said, what value is Dr. Travis Campbell's lectures brought to you? Because she sat in your lectures. She said, learning how the dental insurance companies think, learning, what they're doing is just game changing for an office manager. It's game changing for a front desk person, because I think it decreases some of that anger and sort of says, we got to learn how to play this game to the best of our ability.
Well, and I think you've told me this before, is when you're out of network or fee for service, the level of expectation is so much higher. You have to know it more than I do being fully in network. They'll accept minor issues with us that they won't accept with y'all because
100%.
The expectation's there.
I think what I want to dispel this myth as we wrap up is fee-for-service on a network dentist, they really have to know about insurance. And in-network dentists, they really got to know about patient service. And we really need to know each other's game, because I just went to Chipotle with Todd before his interview, and they got their game down. They got their service down. You don't go into Chipotle and say reservation for 2, it's my 30th anniversary most of the time, but you know exactly what to expect. So consistency is key, and we can all learn from each other. I'm super excited for this upcoming event, Travis. If people want to learn more about what you do or join your service that helps them monthly, what's the best way for them to do that?
Just go to the website, dentalinsuranceguyy.com, and everything's on there.
Can you see dentalinsuranceguyy.com? Can you see if nachoguy.com is available? I don't know if it is, but if it's available, buy it for me, Travis. So you're my friend. Buy me thenachoguy.com if that's available as a domain name for me. If you would like to be part of our amazing learning experience, you can go to dentalnachos.com and select an option. You can also text the word TALK to 215-798-9897, because this has a lot to do with talking to your team, talking to your patients, and talking to yourself about success.